Hey everyone, PushingUpRoses here, and today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on Cuphead, a shoot-'em-up style game developed by Studio MDHR. It had been in development since 2010, but I wasn't familiar with it until this year's E3. And when I saw even just the little clips they showed, I was so impressed. I could not wait to play this. I have a fondness for platformers and challenging run-and-gun gameplay, and Cuphead gave me exactly that. Welcome to Bullet Hell, join us. We have deranged rabbits, living cocktails that can get drunk and vomit their own alcohol, and potato monsters. And if that does not pique your interest, then I don't know what will. Oh wait, I know what you guys want. Robots! Cuphead is the kind of game that you will know whether you like it or not pretty much right away, gameplay-wise at least. This was definitely meant to appeal to people who like a challenge. Some games take a while to ease into, especially ones in the story-driven genre. Sometimes you're not sold on a story right away, but with action-driven games you can get a sense for what it's all about in a faster amount of time. You're either going to see my footage and think, oh my god, I need this so I can beat every level and every boss flawlessly and get every achievement, and I will not stop until I do, goddammit. Or you'll think, fuck that noise. You probably don't need me to tell you that the game is difficult. Most run-and-gun games are, and that's why people who like that play them. But Cuphead really stands out in this genre. It's not your typical shoot-'em-up. Let's be honest, most books have already been written. It's hard to stand out in the entertainment industry, which is why I'm just in love with this game. This is the first title I've played in which the entirety is in the style of 1930s cartoons. It reminds me a little of Mickey Mania, where several of the stages are in the style of the Mickey Mouse cartoon it's based on, such as Steamboat Willie and the Mad Doctor, though Mickey Mania stages start to look more modern as you progress. Cuphead's entire aesthetic is 1930s cartoons, inspired mostly by cartoonist Max Fleischer. When I first discovered this game would be a more action-driven platformer, I was a little disappointed because the adventure game goddess within desired a story-driven point-and-click. At first, I felt like the art style choice was not compatible with the mechanics, and I had a hard time imagining how it would work together. Just seemed like a complete waste of time to have this incongruous hodgepodge of 2D design, bullet hell levels, and platforming not be an adventure game. It sounded like a tragedy to me. And if you haven't played this game yet, you might be thinking exactly what I thought, but frankly, I was just being a snob. As soon as I started playing Cuphead, I realized how well everything fits together, and now I can't imagine it in any other style. The art and animation should be commended. It is full of personality, and as I advanced in the game, I thought, yeah, this does make sense. The enemy characters you see in those shorts from the 1930s are always full of action and whimsy. They make perfect bosses. It's so aces that you feel like you're playing a licensed game. It feels like these characters have always existed, and we've seen them many times before. The way every character moves in this game is simply exquisite, and I also enjoy talking to the non-playable characters even though they don't play a huge part in the story. The overworld map reminds me of the Commander Keen series, complete with victory flags that pop up when you complete a level. I'm also really impressed with how varied the stages are. Most of them are boss battles, but you also get more side-scroller action with the run-and-gun levels, a few levels where you fight enemies using a parry technique, and airplane levels, which are my least favorite. Not because they're unfair or look bad, but because I hate flying a plane around the screen trying to dodge shit. More specifically, I don't like them because I don't get to use the weapons I worked hard to buy in the game, so I struggle to come up with a good strategy, but they definitely help to switch up the gameplay. So here's the story, Morning Glory. Cuphead goes gambling at Devil's Casino run by King Dice. When he notices Cuphead is on a winning streak, King Dice raises the stakes, putting he and his brother's souls on the line. Blinded by greed, Cuphead agrees and ends up rolling snake eyes. The devil decides to make him and Mugman his own personal debt collectors, allowing them to keep their souls if they agree to find the lost souls of the other characters in the fictional island of Inkwell. Instead of making pesky phone calls that you have no intention of answering, as most debt collectors do, Cuphead instead has to fight everyone for their souls, and they aren't going to give them up so easily. Not the most elaborate story I've ever heard, but it fits the theme. The story is mostly communicated with cutscenes you get as you progress the levels, but it's also communicated in the stages themselves. The bosses are so expressive and detailed that you can just imagine what they're like. It doesn't really need an intricate story. The bosses all have names faithful to that era of entertainment, the little film scratches and mimicking of movie transitions from the time are a great touch, and the music sounds like it came straight out of a 1930s jazz club. It honestly makes me want to go load up some Betty Boop, and I never even think about Betty Boop anymore. Now I just want to go on a mission to find my old VHS tapes that had Fleischer cartoons on them. But a game is not typically enjoyable on looks alone, even though that's a huge part of why I enjoyed Cuphead. I did find this game very difficult, but it was surprisingly not punishing. It can be if you're stuck on a level, but I love that you don't have lives, and you won't have to start all the way from the beginning if you lose. You just have to restart the level. And you also have the freedom to try other levels if you just keep getting annihilated on the same one, but you will have to beat all of them to win the game. Even if you find yourself losing a lot, it manages to stay fun, so I think even those of you who don't like this style of game may find it enjoyable. It depends on if you like practicing over and over again until you get it right. I am a perfectionist, so I was quite happy to sit there until I got it right, but not everyone is going to find enjoyment in playing something over and over and over again until they get just good enough to beat a single level. I played this game with a controller, and though you can play it on the PC with a keyboard, I don't recommend that. I found it cumbersome. Once you find the right controller preferences for your specific taste, it feels great. I do think that if this game were swapped out with a different design, I wouldn't like it as much. It does have moments where it really switches things up, but it's not really unique gameplay if you've played other notoriously difficult games. I really do attribute the majority of fun I had to the art style. The fact that these traditional animations work so well as a game with hitboxes and platforming is incredible to me. And even though I didn't like every single level, I haven't had this much pure, unadulterated fun with a game like this in years, completely mesmerized by wiggling mermaids, demonic trains, carnival rides of the damned, and mutant onions. Really? This thing gambled with the devil? It hasn't even started to sprout yet. It's a baby onion. It's not even of legal gambling age. I will also never look at potatoes the same way again. At least when I kill these bosses, I can say that I really mashed that potato and cooked that carrot. Ugh. Cuphead definitely has my recommendation. It is really hard, and if you don't enjoy other games in the same vein, then maybe pass on this one, but I think most people can appreciate it just for its brilliant art direction. You don't need to be good at this game to view it through an artful lens, so don't feel bad if this is not your jam due to its difficulty level. This will not churn everyone's butter, and that's totally fine. I'm not here to judge your skill level in video games, I'm here to tell you why I personally enjoyed Cuphead. Multiplayer is an option if you want to play with a friend. It does make for a slightly different gameplay experience since you now have to share strategies, but I found it a bit too distracting and opted to play alone. I do want to give a little bit of a warning to those who have a disorder in the obsessive-compulsive spectrum like I do. I find this kind of gameplay incredibly addictive, and sometimes the line between I'm having fun and can't sleep, must keep going until I pass out from exhaustion got rather blurred.
I'm having a good time. Not.
And if you are still disappointed that this is not an adventure game, it looks like there is something in the works called Fleisch and Cherry in Crazy Hotel. So I hope to see that come to fruition one day as well, because as much as I enjoyed Cuphead, I maintain that this style would work perfectly in point-and-click form. Let me know if you try this game out, and tell me what your favorite levels are in the comments below. Hey everyone, thanks for watching my review of Cuphead. If you want more content by me, be sure to subscribe and check out my other videos. They're possible due to the support of my enchanting patrons, so if you want to fund this channel, consider looking at my Patreon campaign. As always, see you guys in the next one.